Hi there, welcome to John's Workshop. This is my review of the RedBull RB20 Formula One Technic car. So here it is, all complete. This is part of Formula One's kind of partnership, I guess, with Lego to build out these Formula One cars in various forms. And in this case, this is the excellent Technic series where we get the 1/8 model of a Formula One car. This was a very excellent build. It has more parts than the Ferrari, and you do get into that quite a bit in certain areas. So anyway, I'll start at the front here. We got the wings. So once again, we got the triangle kind of curved wings at the front and three, like a combination of three sets of them to form the wings. This is the first time I've had it where it's actually a curved panel at the very nose of the car. All the others had just a panel there, similar to like this one, only a little smaller. And yeah, so that's a little bit different. That is a different aspect to this particular build as the in difference from all the other Formula One cars so far. The Lego introduced a new wishbone piece, and this wishbone piece here, for on this model, for the front, they put them, I guess, with these kind of, I call them inside out. I call them it's facing outside, or from the way they're probably designed, because on the Ferrari they go the other way. And that's because they actually tried to model the suspensions exactly as close as they could to the actual cars. So because Red Bull suspension is such that it needs to have the connection points on the inside, they needed to put the wishbones inside out, I guess. Anyway, it ends up being, it's a excellent detail that is added there. We got the little antenna piece here with it's a little blaster. And then as we move back, we've got the mirrors. So these mirrors are similar to what is on the Mercedes and the McLaren. The Ferrari just has very simple mirrors using just a flap, which is different. Similar to the Ferrari, they're using these rubber axles for the halo device here. Just like the Ferrari, it's two, unlike the Mercedes, which is just one. So that was I guess, considered an improvement in kind of how big it is. I guess they didn't think one was enough to show the size of it. So this is probably a little bit more representative. And then similar to the Ferrari, we have slightly what I think is a disappointing air intake. Just compared to what's on the Mercedes and what's on the McLaren, it is just not as good. Like, if you want to see the McLaren, they used like actual parts to clearly like define that air intake. So it's quite nice, and I think the Mercedes is even nicer. But yeah, for whatever reason, they didn't do that for either the Ferrari or the Red Bull. So that is the one I consider the one kind of disappointing part of the model. Anyway, now get to like excellent. These side pods are great, just like the Ferrari. These are excellent side pods. Really like the detail going all the way down the side. The air intake definition as well is great. One of the big differences they did on this one is the underside with the fins. So they use these, I think these are like Ninjago swords, and they use these for the fins underneath here. It's actually quite nice. They're very solidly in there. They're not going to move around. So it's pretty nice. I think that is one of the kind of fin pieces they've decided to use compared to what they've used on the Mercedes, the previous models. And now we get to the rear wing and suspension here. So once again, rear suspension. You can see the shocks underneath. They're right on the bottom. They're not really on the inside of the car so much. And then the rear wing. This is where a lot of extra parts were. I just feel like on the front wing and the rear wing, there were a lot more parts as compared to the Ferrari. It has got these big, beefy side panels on here. A lot more parts on this than like even this, there's extra parts up here. So that's why there just seems to be more parts. One of the reasons I believe there's more parts on the Red Bull, along with the side pods. The side pods are actually quite a bit bigger. The engine cover here. So this engine cover is quite large. This is another reason that there's more parts. It's got a lot of parts in there, and it is quite large as compared to the Ferrari one. It's a little bit smaller. Similar thing with the fin though. I think all the F1 cars have this fin going down the middle of where the back of the engine is. And then you can see here, we've got this where the engine is. And we have, once again, similar to the Ferrari, we have a gearbox, which is new to these new Formula One cars. They've got a little 2-speed gearbox. Once again, you put it in gear, the engine will move, and you take it out of gear. Yeah, also the turbo moves when it's in gear. You take it out of gear and it doesn't move. So that's quite nice. The differential sits a little higher in this one as compared to the Ferrari because the suspension is right on the bottom. So, and then so this one, the Ferrari had 2 little axles sticking out because the fin sat in the middle of them. This one, it just covers the gear right up, or covers it right up. So you can see it in there. You can kind of reach down there, but you're gonna have to move the fin out of the way. And as you can see, this has got a much more beefy like build on the back. It's got these big 2 pieces on here. It's got a whole bunch of these different, I think these are actually engine pieces to make that curved sloping on the back of that engine cover. Yeah, very, very nice build. Once again, it has the same steering wheel, new steering wheel as the Ferrari, except you put this one in the opposite way. It goes upside down versus, I call it right side up. The yoke part, the molded part for the steering wheel. So that is a very nice new addition to these models. Similar to the Ferrari, there is a lot more ground clearance on this. So it's got significantly more ground clearance, so it can actually have some travel. You could actually fit some motors in there to do some motorization so that you could remote control the car and have actually enough ground clearance as compared to, as I showed in the Ferrari video, like this has no ground clearance with the Mercedes. None at all. So that is an improvement, I think. I know maybe not as realistic as how low they are, but they did have to make them higher because of the issue the Formula One cars, the actual Formula One cars had with porpoising. They actually had to increase the height a little bit, so it is somewhat realistic that these are higher than the previous models. So that is a pretty neat addition. Anyway, I also, similar, just like the Ferrari, this was an excellent build. I really enjoyed this build. These 2 builds with the Ferrari and the Red Bull are just, these are great. I just really enjoy these Technic builds of these Formula One cars. And now with the addition of the gearboxes, it's really great. The one thing I guess is a little bit different is that I don't know if the fully modded wishbones are better or not. So they're nice. It makes it a little easier to put stuff together, I guess, around the suspension. But I don't know if they're really better because having to build the suspension with the different, those fin parts that you get that you got on the Mercedes and the McLaren, you had to build all of this together to get these wishbones. And that should lead to being it more flexible to do different things. So I don't know if this is better or not. So I guess we'll see in the future if they continue to use these wishbones or if they do some combination of doing like those fins and the molded wishbones, depending on how the car is actually made. So we'll see. But in general, I really think these are excellent models, and like I said, with the Ferrari, I don't really have a big problem putting the stickers on. The one place I don't really like the stickers on this one is on the rear wing. These are like, I just don't think that looks great. It doesn't really, I mean, it is what it is because they're separated and everything, but it kind of makes it kind of blocky. I don't know. The buy bit doesn't really look consistently together, just with all the combination of it being the Technic panels and the sticker being cut up into a bunch of different pieces. So that is the one kind of sticker that's not great, I don't think. Other than that, great model. If you like Formula One, you'll enjoy these models, I believe. So anyway, I'll be doing a more extensive comparison between the different models in another video. And if you'd like to see that, please subscribe. Thank you for watching and take it easy.